Hey there, it's Christian from 7 Gaming Network, and I'm here, as you could probably see, with a trio of characters because I'm here to do a deck tech, and this is going to be a deck tech. This is called Sister and Servant and One Little Piggy, because we have got a single die 7th Sister, so we're the 11-point version. But of course we still get two effectively character dice with it because we get the little ID 9 that comes in along for the show. We've also got Servant of the Dark Side, and we've got Gamorrean Guard. Now let's talk about these characters straight away. What I want to talk about specifically is that 7th Sister kind of is, obviously she's a 2 die character. She's the kind of anchor around which the deck is built, and the deck is built for keeping her alive, and then when she goes down, still having, hopefully, plenty of poke to finish the game out. This has had some real success, this deck. I've won quite a few games now with it. So how it works. We have got quite a lot of upgrades to play in this deck, and essentially you're going to load up 7th Sister with a bunch of those upgrades, which I'm going to go through in a moment, and use the big chunky Gamorrean Guard with his Guardian ability to help to keep her alive. We've also got some other important cards in the deck to keep her alive, again, which I'll go through in a minute, but the whole aim is to keep 7th Sister alive for as long as you can. Once she goes down, then the Servant of the Dark Side's ability will kick in. Now hopefully by the 3rd round, say, when she maybe goes down, maybe as late as the 4th if you're doing really well, you'll be able to get quite a good upgrade out on her, something quite chunky. I'm thinking, something along the lines of a Kylo's lightsaber, or even if it's just a crossguard saber, great. That's going to then redeploy, of course, over to Servant of the Dark Side. And if we've still got Gamorrean Guard around, which we may well do unless it's quite late in the game and 7th Sister's lasted a long time, and in which case she's probably done quite a bit of work for us, Servant of the Dark Side, who's probably already got his own upgrade on him anyway by then, if we've loaded 7th Sister up, is going to end up potentially swinging 2 lightsabers around to finish the deal, and you could well have the Gamorrean Guard still alive. So you've got a lot of staying potential with this deck. So with that being said, let's have a look through the upgrades. Now we're going to start with the damage upgrades, and these are the ones I've gone for. Now the ID9 Seeker Droid, it's really strong, guys. This is a deck, because we've got to look at these in relation to what else is going on. We've got It Binds All Things. Now It Binds All Things will make a huge difference to this deck and how you play it. I mean, look at the cost of our cards. Turning all of these into 1 cost upgrades, apart from the Vibro Knife, is amazing. And Kylo Ren's lightsaber for 2 is really great. And of course, if you get the 2 It Binds All Things, it starts being really ridiculous. Now, why the ID9s are so good is if you see both of them, and you end up with being able to roll in those 3 Seeker Droid dice. 3 discard to hit the table is really good. You'll probably be activating 7th Sister really quite early on, so being able to stick at 3 discard on the table really early on is very, very strong. And the other thing that's quite scary about it is if you've got those 3 Seeker Droid dice and 2 of them hit the discard, you can hit a 3 side and discard 3 cards, and if for some reason they haven't played anything, then that other discard side is going to be a 2, and you can discard their whole hand. That's phenomenally strong, and actually to get that, what you're paying for that is the 2 cards and 2 resources. That's all. If you've got the It Binds All Things in play, is very strong. However, they don't stop there. Obviously they've got damage sides on them themselves. If you get the 3 of them out, the first one's a 3 melee, and the second one's a 2 melee. That's 5 melee damage out of those 2. That's pretty solid too. And of course giving you extra melee sides. And when we've got a fair few modified sides in the deck, it's another really good way of making sure you're getting your black damage sides. And the real killer in this deck as well is that focus result. We have got some big powerful sides. Look at these two. 3 for 1. He's got a 3 for 1. He's also got the +2. There are big spiky sides on those character dice. And then look at our upgrade dice. We've got a +3 on the ancient lightsabers, which is a brilliant card, by the way. We've got the +3 on the Kylo Ren's lightsaber. We've got the shields, anti-shields special on Kylo Ren's lightsaber, which is amazing because I think feels like there's more shields in the game at the moment. The rise of Blue Hero is definitely happening. So these Seeker droids are amazing. Ancient lightsaber is fantastic. It keeps Seventh Sister alive longer, keeps your other characters alive longer, and of course you get to reuse it. That's really good, and you can reuse it and go and get it again, of course, because we are playing lightsaber pull, and being able to play out an ancient lightsaber, roll it, use it, end of the turn, discard it with the action, heal 2, and then go and fetch it again with the lightsaber pull and play it back out, all at the end of a round, feels super good. It feels really, really strong. The crossguard lightsaber, man, this is a good card. This is a really solid card for just 2 resources, or just 1 if we're getting the one of the it binds or things onto it. A 1, a +2, and that's special. Like, ignore the after you play it as upgrade on Kylo Ren. We're not playing with Kylo Ren. We don't need to be playing with Kylo Ren, because this does 2 damage to a character, or 3 if it's got 1 or more shields. That says, to me, in my mind, a 2 cost upgrade has got a 1, a 2, and a 2 damage side on, which could be a 3. That's super, super strong. Because remember, if you've got a vibro knife out, then that special is... sorry, no, it's my bad, because the vibro knife is if damage is dealt. But the other thing about the crossguard lightsaber is your sides are really good. You've got the 1 shield and you've got the 1 resource. And one of the possible difficult things with this deck to manage, of course, is your resources. You've only got the 1 resource on this die and the 1 resource on this die. Sadly, ID9s don't have a resource side. That'd be ridiculous. And Gamorrean Guard hasn't got a resource side. So you've only got the 2 character dice with the resource sides on. So getting these upgrades in play, you need the resource sides on them. That crossguard lightsaber, the ancient lightsaber, and another one which I'll show in a moment. Vibro knife is a no-brainer. It's such a powerful card. We definitely need it. There's more shields around. It's got 2 black sides, which is great for activating our modified. I mean, it's just a no-brainer. It's in there. The reason I've also got Kylo Ren's lightsaber in is it's just a complete damage beat stick. Now, we don't need 2 copies of it because we've got lightsaber pull. So if we're up against a deck and they're putting shields out, that lightsaber pull is going to go and get my Kylo Ren's lightsaber, because that special is super good, and there is quite a lot of focus in this deck, and the focus will allow us to make the most of that special, hit some shields, roll it back in again, and really make the most of it. You could say there's some slight anti-synergy with the crossguard lightsaber. Don't care. If you're playing up against a shield build, then you go and get your Kylo Ren's lightsaber. If you also draw into a crossguard lightsaber, okay, brilliant. Okay, you've got more damage there then. Now, Force Illusion is super important in this deck. We have to keep Seventh Sister alive as long as we can. The longer she stays alive, just the better. It's not that she necessarily deals out so much damage, but she's going to draw all the attention, and that kind of is what we're looking to do. Yes, if you get some big upgrades out on her, she can spike out lots of damage. Those ID9s is what you're really looking to get on her. Are very annoying and frustrating, but as soon as she dies, of course, you're going to have that redeploy, so you don't mind sticking a great big upgrade on her. However, Force Illusion can keep her alive a lot longer. In a world where you've got decks like Cad Bane, who is just going to activate and potentially roll out, I don't know, 7 damage. He'll roll a 3, a 2, and a +2 on one of his upgrades. Being able to essentially turn that into 3 damage, because you can just discard 4 cards for the 2 and the +2, is really powerful. In fact, you can see a game on 7 Gamer Network stream where I played against a Cad Bane Phasma, and twice I could see he was about to play an upgrade, an ambush upgrade onto Cad Bane. I know Cad Bane's going to swing at me, come in with guns. Fine, you stick Force Illusion onto Seventh Sister because you're presuming that he's going to go after Seventh Sister, and it's going to keep her alive really well. The other upgrade that I run in this deck is Dark Council. This is a deceptively good little card, guys. So it's free if you've got your It Binds All Things out, but 1 resource we don't mind. It also helps us, of course, to ramp up onto those little 2-cost lightsabers and weapons we've got a few of. Now, those die sides, these are all golden in our deck. I mean, absolutely golden. The 2 focus is so important. Those 2 focus results will translate into those 3-for-1s on a character dice. They'll translate into things like the Kylo's lightsaber special. They'll translate into a resource that we really need to be able to do the 3-for-1 that we've rolled, and so on and so forth. There are so many uses for the focus in this deck. The 1 resource is really good, as I said to you earlier. We kind of need to make sure we're getting some resources from somewhere, so our upgrades are important, and Dark Council is very helpful for that. And then we've got this beautiful special. Oh my goodness, this special is amazing. We have got quite a few cards in the dice in the deck that have some big sides on, but we've got to get to them. And one of the advantages of having Dark Council is it allows you to draw a card and you're going to get that die back in the pool. There was one game where I really just needed to get 1 melee side to hit. If I could just get 1 black melee side, it was going to set off, I think, 2 ancient lightsabers. It was going to be 7 damage. Dark Council MVP'd it for me because I had the special, I drew a card, and I re-rolled it back in. It rolled the special again, discarded, re-rolled, didn't hit it, could resolve it again, draw another card, rolled it back in, got the focus. Happy days. So I can focus more, I can discard, I can do whatever I like. I might have drawn a card that allowed me to fix the die. That was the card that allowed me to dish out a huge amount of damage. The focus and that special on there were really good, and of course we need that resource too. So that's the upgrade suite. It's lean, it's cheap, and most of the time through the games, this isn't a deck that's going to obliterate your opponent in 2 turns. What it's going to do is by turn 4 or 5, with ancient lightsabers healing itself, with Force Illusions keeping characters alive, I've been finding you've been able to get rid of a character or maybe 2 of theirs if they're playing that 3-character list. And by the time you're down to 2 characters, they get rid of Seventh Sister, you've got 3 or 4 upgrades in play, as well as those 2 nice big tacky character dice on your Dark Servant and on your Piggy. And it just feels like I've had opponents just say, oh, it's too many dice to deal with, too many good dice that are putting out a lot of damage onto the table. So let's have a look at the events then, because there's a couple of little interesting choices in here. Now, our removal suite is fairly straightforward. We've gone with 2 flanks, we're playing with a 3-character list, so of course flank is great. He doesn't like you, we've got the Piggy for the yellow, so good. So we're always going to be taking, in fact, the amount of times I've guarded with the Pig, which I haven't really talked about much, that's massive in this deck. The guard ability on a great big chunky dice, a great big chunky character like the Gamorrean guard, is going to save your blue characters so much. They won't target the Gamorrean guard first. He's going to get to use all of his health on guarding away these dice. It's really good. And the amount of times I've rolled him in, he's rolled a blank. Oh well, never mind, he doesn't like you. And I've dealt with 2 of their dice very nicely. He's made a big difference in making the deck really have good staying power. Rend is going to be great, of course, for your holocrons and your Imperial inspections and so on if they're still being played. I think there's an errata coming in for Imperial inspection and isolation. There's a lot of good character dice out there. and so I'm playing a 2 isolation. I might change 1 for an overconfidence. I think this is a bit of a meta call. If you're playing against lots of Vader, Baby Vader, Phasma 2s, isolation's a good card against them. Now come to a bit of tech. Guys, Thrawncar is out there, and Thrawncar is only going to get more and more powerful as people get used to playing and get better at playing it. And once we get round to there's more competitive regional sort of season, I think Thrawncar's really going to come into his own. Fairtrade's really good against it. But there's actually quite a few decks around that create a lot of resources. EAW is all about supports at the moment. Lots of people are playing Hux decks, or they're playing Hera Vehicles decks, or those Sienna Re kind of builds that just want to get lots of vehicles and have lots of resources. Fair trade is brilliant, and if you can fair trade and get another 2 lightsabers out or something, it's a massive swing because it's more dice for your opponent to try and mitigate. Enrage is really good, mostly because if you don't see a Dark Council and you aren't rolling and you don't see your binds all things, you're in trouble. Like, you need the resources to be able to get those upgrades out, and Enrage can really help you out in a pinch. And the other thing as well is, of course, that you get those rounds where you've got the 3 for 1 sat on the table, you've got no resources, your opponent sort of thinks he hasn't got any access to any resources, he can't hit me with that 3 for 1. Enrage just keeps them really honest. They've got to play around the Enrage on those 3 for 1s. Lightsaber pull, it acts as the tutor to go and get our Kylo Ren's lightsaber, or our ancient lightsaber if we need some healing. It's really good to be able to do that, and of course that we can then reuse that ancient lightsaber with another lightsaber pull. It's really, really strong. Now You Will Die. This is an interesting one. I've got 2 copies in here and I could change that. The thing is, Now You Will Die makes, of course, the ID9 Seeker Droid really good. I mean, it essentially says any of those sides, doesn't matter what you roll, you can turn that first one into 3 melee damage and the second one into 2 melee damage. It feels almost like a Force Strike is what it feels like. It's turning those ID9 Seeker Droids into Vader dice. So I really love that. However, of course, it doesn't mean you need to get, certainly to get 1 more Seeker Droid out, and realistically you want both of them out to really get the most out of this. But it's a shock. People are not expecting you to play it. Now, my problem with having the card, and the reason why it could be changed, is there isn't really any other big sides for it to hit. Everything else is just a 1 for 1 damage, because we don't really have any other big sides that aren't damage. Throughout the whole of the deck, everything else is a 1 if it's not melee damage. That could be a real reason to maybe just change it to a 1-off, because you kind of only really want to have one around when you're seeing those, seeing the 2 or the 3 ID9 Seeker Droids. But the reason I've got 2 in there is that this is a deck that goes a bit longer. It's got good staying power, and it's going to see round 4 most games. In fact, I haven't played a game yet where it hasn't gone to round 4 or more. And that feels like then there's a good chance of seeing both of those Seeker Droids out, and then there's a good chance of getting to resolve this for the 3 damage. But absolutely there's a whole bunch of cards you could put in instead of it, like Clash or Lightsaber Training. We got some good targets for that. Anyway, so that's Servant and Sister, My Little Piggy, and I'd love if you get some games in with this, then please do leave some comments on the video. I'd love to find out what you think about it, what cards you've been putting in. Remember, we've got yellow. I mean, I've tried with like Vibro Knuckles in, because that's a cool card in a build like this. I mean, that really is something you could chuck in and it'll be very good. The new Vibro Axe, for more sort of anti-shield hate. The only difficulty with those, of course, is you can't go and fetch them with a lightsaber pull, which is why I really like Kylo Ren's lightsaber. But there definitely is other upgrades we put in as a whole host of different cards you could be putting in for dealing with things like Thrawncar, like your Abandon All Hope and so on. The reason I've got Fair Trade in rather than Abandon All Hope is Fair Trade effectively doesn't really cost us anything, and we can gain a lot from it. Whereas Abandon All Hope, it costs us 2 resources and we're not really gaining anything from it, which is why I've got the Fair Trade in there. Anyway, guys, go play it, enjoy it, see if you get wins with it, and let me know, give me feedback, because I get the feeling this could be a sort of, I think this could be tier 2. I really think it could be tier 2, with the staying power, with the damage output that it can manage, and with just the efficiency of all of these really good upgrades with some nice selective events in there. So yeah, let me know how it goes. Anyway, until next time, keep enjoying your destiny.